So we touched on this earlier. The Yankees made a decision to play Jason Dominguez in left today, and that means Alex Verdugo's out of the lineup after hitting a home run in yesterday's game. Boone said today that Judge is going to be in center field when he's in the outfield, and Dominguez will be in left field when Judge is in center field. And although Dominguez this is me talking, Dominguez is better positioned to center, not left. They're not moving Aaron Judge to left after moving him to center from right field. Boone also said, according to Gary Phillips of the Daily News, that he talked to Alex Verdugo about having a fluid role moving forward, but the manager didn't want to share more about that conversation. I'll tell you what that conversation was like. Verdugo couldn't have been happy. He's finally hitting. Last 15 games, he's 18 for 54, 333. As Don mentioned earlier, he had a home run yesterday, only his second home run since the All-Star game. And the GM on Friday in Chicago said that the best chance moving forward was to play Verdugo every single day in left. Just don't know what changed. Don't know. I'm not saying it's a bad move. I'm not saying it's the wrong move. Don, I just don't know how this happened.
And listen, the fans are thrilled because they want Verdugo out of there and have Dominguez play. So you're seeing comments that this is the best lineup. So, the fans are going to get excited about it. But you could feel for Verdugo. I mean, he's told one thing, and then he goes out there and hits a home run. Like, he doesn't get benched after not hustling it down the first base line, gets defended by his coach blindly, and then hits a home run. Now, tonight, he's part of Rest Roulette. And what's going to happen tomorrow? So the fans are going to back the Yankees on this one, but there's just an inconsistency in the air about it. But if they go out there and they continue to win and they got the bats going last night, then nobody's going to complain about it. But I know nobody feels for Verdugo, but it kind of just feels like you're talking out of both sides of your mouth. And I don't know if you saw, Boone was salty again with our boys at John Boy.
How?
Because I forget which one of them said that Torres is the worst defensive second baseman in baseball. And what was the word that
what did Aaron say?
Boone, he's asinine. That's right. He called it asinine. Is it? He's got 17 errors.
Well, it's the most errors of any second baseman. It might not be true, but asinine is strong.
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, listen, you could disagree and say there's metrics to tell you that that's not the case, but is it that ridiculous to say that he's the worst defensive second baseman in baseball when he's got the most errors of any second baseman in baseball? I understand you wanted to defend your players, but I thought that was unfair to the John Boy guys to make it sound like it's asinine to have that opinion when it's probably shared by the majority of the fan base.
It was a good day for baseball, Yankee and Met baseball fans yesterday. The Yankees won, the Orioles lost. And by the way, don't sleep on the Red Sox. The four-game weekend set with the Red Sox just became tougher because the Red Sox are now within striking distance of that third wild card spot, which is now a tie between the Twins, there's a tie between for the third spot is a twin spot. It's a tie between the Mariners, the Tigers, and the Red Sox. They're all 3 games behind the Twins. So the Red Sox are playing the Orioles tonight again. Right. And so the Yankees are a game and a half in front of the Orioles, 2 games in the loss column. That's huge. And for the Mets, Don, it couldn't have played out any better for the Mets yesterday. They won a game that you could kind of put under the heading of fortunate because, they blew the lead, and then Toronto just kind of handed it back to them. And the Braves lost 1-0 to the Reds in a makeup game, and both the Padres and the Diamondbacks were idle. So the Mets are in pretty good shape right now.
I don't know if this is good or bad. I'm going to take it as good because I want to spin positive here. But that was the third game in the last few days where I thought the Mets were going to lose, and I was surprised they won. There were 2 games against, I believe, one game against the Reds. There was another. It might have been both games against the Reds. And last night where they blow the lead, they got 1 hit, Michael. They got a 1-0 lead. They lose that. It becomes 2-1. They give up the 2 runs in the bottom of the 7th inning. Budo doesn't have it. He's throwing the ball all over the place. Can't find the strike zone, which is becoming a bit of an issue. He's got a wild hair up his nose all of a sudden. And then they come back in the top half of the 8th inning, Michael, and they score on a wild pitch and a pass ball. And then Diaz comes in. You sweat it out a little bit, put the tying run on, and then gave up a long fly out to end the game. But like you're kind of waiting, and it did come up a loss on Sunday, Michael. But they're winning the majority of these games, not really hitting well. The bullpen's given it up a little bit lately, but yeah, they find a way to still come back and win. Braves get shut out 1-0. Diaz's brother gets the save in that one. And then Diamondbacks and Padres are idle, so they gain a half game there. And as long as they keep all three of these teams within striking distance, and that's good for them, Michael, because it doesn't even have to be about the Braves. Maybe they don't have to win that series against the Braves, but just to keep up with the Diamondbacks and the Padres. It might not be about the Braves. It might be about the Diamondbacks. It might be about the Padres. They could still end up as the first wild card here.
And that would be the best thing, because then you'd have the 3 games at Citi Field.
Then you get it at home, and so we'll see, Michael. There's 18 games left. Things can change. Alonso not great last night. Lindor not great. Again, not great offensively at all last couple of days. But finding ways to still win games and stay in this thing. And, the schedule's going to get a little tougher. That's why you got to mop up on these Blue Jays. Not a great team. Bichette's out. Win these next 2, and then see what you can do against Philadelphia once you come back home.
All right, I have a little treat here. You guys want to hear the exchange between John Boy and Aaron Boone?
Yeah.
All right, this is from our good friends at Talkin' Yanks. This is the conversation with Aaron Boone.
Jazz has been great on hot shots. He's got an awesome arm, coming in on the ball still. There's been, sometimes where it's like, well, he's not a third baseman by trade. Gleyber has not had a good season defensively.
I think you need to stop with the Jazz stuff. Like, if you're not made a couple mistakes over there, but it's been really good.
Well, then if that's not available for conversation, then I'll stick you on the other one, because Gleyber's been the worst second baseman of the league defensively.
I would push back on that as far as the worst. He's made the most errors.
And
he has not been close to the worst.
Inside edge tracks poor plays as well, and Gleyber has 11 of those, 17 errors, so 28 poor plays. Next would be 16. If I'm not talking about one, I'm going to make sure I get my points on the other. He's been very poor.
The worst is a reach. He's made mistakes, no doubt about it. He leads the league in errors. I understand that, but there's also the good plays too that factor in. So to say he's the worst in the league is
one of the worst.
The problem.
Where's the
you
asinine?
didn't say asinine, by the way.
Yeah, but that's what the headlines are all saying.
Right.
So,
but I will tell you this, Don. The worst nightmare of anybody that's an analytics team. These guys know those numbers.
I know.
They're throwing those numbers right back at him, and he doesn't like it. So I understand that Aaron doesn't want somebody saying that his player's the worst, but it's not outrageous to say he is.
Yeah, it's not a reach, as he put it. You could say that I think he's going to play better. You could say I'll take those errors because I think he's made some other big play. But to say that it's a reach, I think it's discounting the stats that I'm sure they're using as well.
I think that it's a tough spot for him, because you don't want to just sit there as someone describes one of your players as the worst in the league and not offer any sort of defense if you're still playing that player. But he probably went a little bit far. Maybe you just have to say, hey, that's not how I view it, but anyways, and continue. But you see what I'm saying, Michael? Yeah. It is hard to just accept it and keep talking. Like that. Now you're co-signing.
No, but he doesn't have to do that. He doesn't have to just accept it, but he doesn't have to be
so
combative with it. I mean, they've got numbers that tell you that he's not very good.
Right.
And I'm not saying that Aaron is doing this, Michael, because Aaron's a great guy. I really do like him. But it does come across like you don't value their opinion, like they're just fans. Who cares what you think? Oh, listen, these guys, I know they're fans, Michael, but they do the work.
They've got numbers to back up their opinions.
And believe me, listen, the Yankees may have more numbers, but if you want to get into a digging contest, I'm sure these guys are able to dig up numbers just as easily as you can.
But that's why I find the numbers conversation on both ends stupid. Like that's not the only way to describe what happens in the sport.
It's not some caller saying he's the worst, and then you ask them why. They're not. They're just formulating this. First of all, they're formulating the opinion because they watch every pitch.
Yeah.
And they also have access to numbers to back that up. So at least you're talking to people that are doing the homework, not just passionate fans that are just grabbing opinions for shots.
100% true.
Jimmy and Jake do the work.